to my channel, Ruby Statement. Today I'll be teaching you how to knit this gorgeous fantasy stitch. It's very easy to do, any beginner can do it. I hope you guys like it and give it a try, and I will show you some of the material that you can use to make this beautiful stitch. This stitch is very easy to do. The stitch is multiple of 11 plus 8 for the border. If you want to do border, I have 4 net in each side. So I'm making like a little pullover out of this long sleeve. No a bulky sweater. You can make a bulky sweater if you want with this stitch as well. You can make summer blouses. You can do baby blanket. You can do baby sweater. Just a hat. Many things you can do with this beautiful stitch. So you can use 100% cotton, mercerized cotton like this one. This one is Bernat Handicrafter. So you can, medium 4, you can use this more for a summer piece with the cotton. You can use this type, and Lydia, this one is fine one, but for this you will have to use double the strand to create a summer blouse. Also you can use something like this. This one I bought it on eBay. It's like a fine 1 or 2. They don't have the size. So for this one you will have to do double the strand. Also you can use, this one is the one that I'm going to show you. Is Loops and Thread Impeccable. That is exactly the same as the one I'm using for my sweater or pullover. Or if you live in Canada or in the States and you have this one, a Cambria bag from Loops and Thread, you can make with this. You will double the strand as well. Or you can do a single if you want more like a light summer top. Last week I showed you how to do this stitch. That is gorgeous and easy as well. And if you don't see in this video, I will leave a link here. You will see an eye. You click on the eye and I will bring you to this video and how to make this stitch. So let's start making this beautiful stitch. This was the first sample that I did of the stitch. So the stitch is from the half in here to here is 11 stitches and 11 in here, plus 8 for in the beginning and for at the end for my border stitch of net. So if you're making, for example, a baby blanket, I recommend to do like a 2 or 3 centimeter of purl to start, and then you continue with the stitch, and then after you do a border with purl as well. That way it's nice and uniform, the border of your blanket. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with this one. And here I did 2 motifs. So I did 11 from one side and 11 for the other one, was 22, and 4 and 4 for the border. That was 30 stitches for my sample. That's what I'm going to do to show you. Now I need to leave a tail long enough for casting on my 30 stitches. So I'm going to wrap 15 times in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm gonna pull it out, fold it in half, leave a little extra. I always like to leave a little extra, and do a slip knot. And that will count as my first casting on. So this is the tail, and this is the one attached to the ball of yarn. So you're going to pass these 2 fingers through here, and then with the other 3 you're going to grab these 2 tails together, you see? And you can grab here and pass these 2. This is for beginners as well. So you're going to place your finger in this one, and then you're going to pull and create a loop in here, and you go inside that loop, wrap the other strand of yarn from the other finger and pass it through this loop, move your thumb, and you cast on your second stitch. And you see automatically I place my thumb inside the strand of yarn again, and you'll see I come here, wrap, pass through, and then I come and put it inside, and with the thumb I tie the stitch, and already my thumb is in place. You see, like that you're gonna cast on your 30 stitches. I recommend to do a little sample first before you start working on a piece. That way you get familiar with the stitch. So I'll meet you here when I have my 30 stitch. I have my 30 stitches here. Now with the tail I'm gonna do a knot in here to secure my work and the stitch. I want to apologize if I talk too much. Is that I like to explain and give you as much detail as I can, just in case it's a beginner that see my video. So some of us that know a little bit more about netting like to just go fast and do our work, but other people need a little more explanation. So we're gonna start with the row of net. This stitch is a repetition of 4 rows. So the first one is net. You're gonna net all your stitches. So net is very easy. You pass through the strand in the front to the back, you see, and you wrap your yarn like that, and then you bring it out, and this one you take it out of your needle. So it's very easy. So I will meet you here at the end of this row. I finished that first row, and something that I want to mention is, if you're doing your border stitches for a blanket, you can do a purl stitch. So instead of start with all nets in the right side, what you do is you do your 4th stitches, purl stitch, and then you do 22 net and then 4 purls at the end, and then the second row will be all purl. But for mine is net in the right side, all the stitches. So the second row is purl every single stitch. So purls are easy because you can see what you're doing. You grab your right hand needle, you pass it through the front strand of yarn like this, and then you wrap your yarn, and then you take it out that stitch like that. So it's very easy. So I will meet you at the end of this row. I finished row number 2, and before we do this row I will explain you each step of the stitch. And I'm gonna leave in the description box my way of writing my patterns. I don't know how to write patterns yet, so I'm doing my best. So with the help of the video and what I want to leave in the description box, I hope you can do this stitch. But it's very easy. So in here I will explain what we're gonna do. So you're gonna do 4 border stitch, and those 4 will be net. And then we had to do 2 purls, 2 stitch together and a purl stitch twice. So this will be these 2 together and a purl stitch, and these 2 together and a purl stitch. So after that we had to do yarn over and 1 net 3 times. So after you do these 2 together, you're gonna do a yarn over, 1 net, that's 1 time, yarn over, 1 net 2 times, yarn over, 1 net 3 times. After that you have to do yarn over. So you will do a yarn over, and then we have to do 4 times 4 purls together. So for here you will do these 2 together and a purl stitch, these two together in a purl stitch, those two together in a purl stitch, and those two together in a purl stitch, and that will be 4 times. After that, we're going to start again with the net and the yarn over 3 times. So after you do those two together, you do yarn over, 1 net, yarn over, 1 net 2 times, and yarn over, 1 net 3 times. And then you're going to do yarn over, and this time you're going to do what you did in the beginning, just 2 purls together. You'll do these 2 together in a purl stitch, these 2 together in a purl stitch, and the 4 border stitch. So that's what we're going to do now, and I hope I explained myself well enough for you to do this row. So I hope it makes sense. So we're going to start now with a stitch. We're going to start with 4 nets for the border stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're doing a blanket, those 4 will be purl and instead of net. So now you're going to do 2 purls together, and 2 purls together. Now we're going to do yarn over and net stitch 3 times. So I already have the yarn in the front, so that's the yarn over, 1 net, yarn over, 1 net 2 times, 1 yarn over, and 1 net 3 times. So now you're going to do a yarn over, and you're going to do 2 purls together 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now again we have to do the yarn over and 1 net 3 times. So we have the yarn in the front to create the yarn over. So 1 net, yarn to the front for the yarn over, 1 net 2 times, yarn to the front for the yarn over, and 1 net 3 times. Now you're going to do a yarn over and 2 purls together, or the 2 stitch and a purl stitch together, and 2 together and a purl stitch. And then what you have left is the 4 border stitch. Well, we finished that row, and again now you can see the stitches better in the explanation that I gave you before we did that row. So I'm going to explain it again now that you can see it again. I know I'm repeating myself, but I like to explain really well because it's not the same to follow a net pattern than the crochet pattern. So it's a little more complicated, I guess, to do a net pattern if you're not familiar with it. So here we did 4 border stitches and there were 4 net. So the next was to do 2 together and a purl stitch and 2 together and a purl stitch, and these are the 2 stitches here. So after that you had to do a yarn over and 1 net. Since we had the yarn in the front, what we had to do is just do the net, and then that we had to repeat 3 times. So we did yarn over 1 net, we brought the yarn to the front, and we did yarn over and a net twice, yarn over and a net 3 times. After that we did a yarn over, and since the next one is a purl, you have to bring the yarn all the way to the front and wrap around the needle in order to create the yarn over for a purl. So you have to purl 2 together 4 times. So that's 1, you see, that's 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, and 2 together. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. After that you have to repeat exactly what you did here, the yarn over and a net 3 times. So since the yarn was in the front, we did the net, so that's 1, yarn over and a net twice, yarn over and a net 3 times, and then again you did the yarn over all the way wrapping around the needle to do the next 2 purls together. So that's yarn over 2 purls together, 2 purls together, and 4 net for the border. So that's what we did in this row. Now the next row, number 4, is purl every single stitch. So you're gonna purl all the way to the end. So it's that repetition of those 4 rows where you're gonna do over and over until you have the desired length for your piece. So it's very easy. So here is the yarn over. You're gonna bring your needle in here, and you're gonna yarn over in that strand. Do a purl in the yarn over like that, and then you're gonna do another purl. The next one is again another yarn over, and you come here and that strand. You're gonna do a purl, and then like that you're gonna continue all the way to the end. Again another yarn over, and you're gonna do a purl in that strand. So I'll meet you at the end of this row. We finished those 4th row. So now before I continue, I want to explain you something. I made a mistake in my other piece twice, and I want to explain what I did. That way you don't make the same mistake. So in here, at the end of that row of the stitch, you have to pay attention when you do the 2 together in here before you do the 4 net, because you will see that automatically you will try to do the yarn over and the next net, because in here you've been working like that. So in here you've been doing a purl, yarn over, and a net. So in here you will try to do the same. I did it twice, and when you're working a fantasy stitch or an open stitch like this, it's more difficult to undo some of the rows because all the yarn overs. So I wanted to give you that explanation to pay attention in that row at the end, because in the beginning you don't make the mistake. You always will make that mistake at the end of that row after working all these stitches. So something that I wanted to show you before you continue. I did it twice, and it was really hard for me to undo those. So now we're going to start with the repetition of row 1 again, and they are all nets. So I'll meet you at the end of this row. Now we're going to do the repetition of row 2. That is a purl row. Now we're going to start the repetition of row 3. That is where we do the design of the stitch. So we're going to start with the 4 net for the border stitch, and then 2 purl, 2 together in a purl stitch, 2 together in a purl stitch, and then the yarn overs and the net. Like that you finish the repetition of row 3. Now we're gonna do the repetition of row 4, that is a purl row. So with this row you finish the row of the design, and then you start all over again, the repetition of row 1 to 4. So it's just so easy and beautiful, this design. So any beginner can do this. So that's the repetition that we're going to continue until you have the desired length, whatever piece you're doing. So it's the repetition of one row of net, one row of purl, the row of the stitch, and a row of purl, over and over and over. So you have to pay a little more attention when you're doing the repetition of row 3, because it's the one with the sign, that way you don't make a mistake. You're going to start with the 4 border stitch, and then you're going to do 2 purl together and 2 purl together, and you see that the second 2 purls together is on top of this little hole. That is the way that stitch is supposed to use it, and here then create like a little open like that, like a little leaf or something. I'm gonna show you in the bigger piece. That way you see the stitch better. Look at how gorgeous this look. And so easy that I was amazed how easy this was. So you see these start to open like this, like they make like a little leaf or something. Gorgeous. So I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make something with this stitch or just a little sample piece and you want to show me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman, or you can search in Facebook at capital R Ruby Stedman Crochet, one word, and it will show easier. You'll find me there much easier. Or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet, as well. You can send me pictures through there. And I hope you guys like it, and share my video with friends and family. That way you help me grow here on YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day.